Welcome back. I'm going to talk about this today. This little thing right here. So listen closely. It's a watch, yes, but more importantly, it's time. And so if I was sitting there where you are and a little bit stuck, frustrated, not getting the results that I want, feeling like life is passing me by, that was me. My hands were raised. That was all of it. What would I do? And one of the things that I just did not realize what was happening was time. Time was happening whether I liked it or not. Time consistently was moving. There it is. It's going. It's not stopping. And so many times what happens, again, as I said, John 10:10, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I'd say distract. But then it says that I have come that you would have life and life more abundantly. So how are we going to get more life and more abundantly? Well, we can't get distracted. We can't let the enemy destroy us. And so what happens many times is like for myself, after we believe, if you haven't watched that first video of Believe My Story, watch that story because I'm going to share with you what I, needed to believe. The next part of that was one of the key ingredients is this thing called time. Because if you don't recognize that time is moving, that time is happening, that if you plan to be 80 years old, which, God bless you if that happens, because scriptures even tell us that we're not guaranteed tomorrow. The book of Psalms says that we are to number our days. That means that to have a count, to look into it, to know what's going on, to have an idea of what the future is going to look like. And listen, I'm only sharing this with you because I messed this all up. I was terrible with creating plans and strategies and where I wanted to go next and what was my life going to look like, or maybe filling out a mission vision statement one time and then tucking it in the corner, or maybe reading that one self-help book and then tucking it away and you just forget about it. It's gone. Why? Because there's a new shiny toy. There's a new thing in front of you. And so if I was sitting there in your shoes, one, as I would be recognizing the time that you have left. I left off and I said that if you plan to be 80, it's about 30,000 days. If you're around 40, that cuts it in half. Do the math. So that's what you got left. And that's where we have to understand of what are we going to do with what we have left? Okay, because my job and why I sit here with you and clients and everybody is that I prepare people for the end in mind and for you to have that one statement, that one statement that means all statements. And that statement is simply this: well done, my good and faithful servant, right? But if you don't understand time, then you don't understand well done, my good and faithful servant. If you're not disciplined with your time, then you won't get well done, my good and faithful servant, because too much is given, much is required. Scriptures tell us. And so if you've been around or you're a Christian or you're growing or whatever it might be, and you feel stagnated, I want to give you this little picture, and this helped me because this is exactly where I felt in this space of time. So imagine here's my body, right? This is where I'm at. I'm in the present moment. However, our potential and our purpose is moving forward. There's so much more. And when you're in those moments, when you know that there's more and it's not happening, it literally feels like a disconnect of spirit and body. It feels like you should be over there, but your body is over here. And so first you have to recognize it, that's what's going on. Second, you have to do something about it. I talk about the gates of change frequently, and that is simply this: awareness, acceptance, accountability, and action. Well, you can't just take action if you don't have those other three steps in there for that transformation to happen. And so there's this purpose, there's this potential, and it's trying to pull us into that place. But many of us are just so stuck and fearful and don't know where to start and don't know who to trust, right? There's so many, gurus and experts. And then you say, well, who do I trust? I don't know exactly who to trust. I can tell you this: sit with the Lord and the Lord will talk to you about who to trust. That's one thing. And as you begin to move toward, the scriptures tell us that if you seek, you will find, and the door will be open. Seek with all your heart and the door will be open for you. So you want more for your life. You want more impact, income, freedom for your family, and ways to be more generous. You're making at least $100,000 a year or more, 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs. That's who you are, and that's who I talk to, and that's who I work with, and that's because that's who I was. That was me sitting there frustrated, unfulfilled, wishing that I could do more for my family, wishing that I could be more generous. And I just didn't have it. And I didn't have it here as well. You see, because as much as time is so significant, Romans 12 is even just as significant, because it says, don't be transformed, don't be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our minds, the renewing of our minds, constantly renewing. And so you have to ask yourself as well, what is coming into your mind on a daily basis? How much time is being wasted on a daily basis because of what's happening into your mind, what's happening with your phone, what's happening on television? What are these distractions in your life? When you get centered on time, and so this is where we'll sit down. So for example, let's say it's me and you. All right, we'll sit down. We'll say, all right, what are we looking for? There's a client of mine that's talking about balance in his life, right? With his family, wants work-life balance. And just so you know, the statistics alone on getting a coach for work-life balance is this: 3 out of 4 people that get a coach to bring that in and to work on that in their life, 3 out of 4 of them, that happens for them. They get that result. They get balance in their life. So if I'm sitting down with somebody, first we articulate, well, what is balance? What does time look like at work? What does time look like at home? Let's measure it so we can manage it, right? What do you want your day at work to look like? What do you want your day at home to look like? What does your wife and kids or spouse or whoever's involved, what does that look like for you? What is the dream outcome? I want to be able to do this. I want to come home. I want to spend time. Great. We then put that into a package. Sit down. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to have this in your calendar, in your schedule. Maybe you even have alarms on your phone, all those different things. And guess what? Here's the magic bullet. The magic bullet, because you and I both know, you know how to do all those things. You know how to use a calendar. You know how to use alerts. You know how to use the thing on your phone. You know all that stuff. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Here's what you don't have is somebody that's on your team that's challenging you and that's keeping you accountable to doing the things that you know you need to do. And that is the kicker. That is the real moving block of all of these things. Every time I sit with clients, they come and they come at the end of the week and they say, oh man, I knew I was going to talk to you and I knew I had to get all this stuff done. And so I did it and I got it and we're moving forward. Okay. Time does that for you, because when you begin to number your days, I want to put this to you before I finish. It's just a quick one today. I want to put this to you before you finish. 1, have you numbered your days? 1, have you put out a plan for your life that you see every single day? 2, how is that and your mind working together? How is that transforming you, right? Romans 12. How is that transforming you? Where do you have it? Where are you seeing it? Who's keeping you accountable to that, right? The second piece is huge. How is that happening for you? How are you transforming into that? How are you thinking about it? And think about this, not just what you are thinking, thinking about those positive things. I want you to do an inventory of all of the negative things that are taking up real estate in your mind. You see, if your mind is real estate, it's the most valuable real estate you own, you have to ask yourself, who am I renting space out to in my mind today? And am I happy as them being a tenant? Because if you are, great. They're going to raise the level of your mind. It's going to raise the value of your mind, and you're going to get to the vision that you want to get to. But if you don't have that, well, then that's where you need a strategy. You need to do something. And it's not going to be doing the same thing over and over again. Life now has given us so much more opportunities for information and education. It's up to you to be able to grab onto that and say, yes, I want to grow and do that. Why? Here's the thing. Well done, my good and faithful servant. You know the talent, the gifts, and the skills that God has given to you. You know it, and you know what's in your heart. And I'm only sitting here asking you those questions because I believe that's what the Lord has instructed for me to do. I want to prepare you for the end in mind right now. I want to get you a plan. I want you to understand time. I want you to see that this thing is ticking all day long. And it's not about putting it off tomorrow. There's things that you need to do today to move forward. And I know it seems like it's hard, but that's only because your mind has been trained to think that it's hard. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. It's like when you first start working out. You know what's hard when you first start working out? Working out. And then what happens? You get 10 days into it, 20 days into it, 30 days into it. And you know what? It might be hard, but you see the work and you see the progress and you say, you know what? I like it. I'm doing it. This helps me. This makes me better. This helps me grow. The same thing for your mind, the same thing for your vision, the same thing for your family, the same thing when you start to get to be generous in the places where you want to be generous. I want to help you unlock all of those things. I want you to make more impact so that you're a leader doing the things you need to do, income, so you have the resource to be able to have the options that you want for your family to have the freedom to do the things that you want to do. And lastly, I want you to have ways to be more generous because I want you aligned to your purpose. I don't believe that your purpose is a unicorn. I believe that Jeremiah says that God has plans and a purpose for you. Plans, great plans for the future. And I believe that when you seek him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and when you do everything possible to do that, that things happen, doors become unlocked, you see things differently, and all of a sudden your life starts moving rapidly with results in the way that God has called you to be. So I want to leave that with you. Remember, time, it's ticking. It's ticking. If you have any questions or thoughts, or you want to know, go on Instagram, follow me on there, subscribe on YouTube. 60% of you are not subscribers. So subscribe on YouTube. Step one. Number two, go on Instagram. Every day I'm putting something in there that's going to help your life, grow your life, make more income impact free with your family and ways to be more generous. And then lastly, send me a DM. Here's the thing. If you want this blueprint for you, you want to check it out, you want to taste, DM me the word purpose in Instagram, and I'll send you the whole thing right to you, right to your email. All right? God bless you.